exactly 9 o'clock this Totori Tuesday on FM 103.9. Good morning to you and welcome to the station for knowledge and entertainment, the only law radio station in the country. And indeed, you just want to keep it here for what's coming this morning. Well, it's a Law FM morning show and we do this 9 till 10:30 every weekday. Thanks for staying tuned. If you're just joining me for the very first time today, we appreciate it. We can, of course, welcome you to the family, especially when you do join in by texting via the numbers we provide for you or calling at some point during the program. It's a full house and, of course, the package always exciting here. And so we'll introduce you to what we're talking about today in a moment or two. But in the meantime, let's meet the cast on the show today. Kingsley Bass is my name.
I am Beatrice Inem.
And I'm Felix Zoma.
Yeah, we'll start the show by telling you what's happening in the country and, of course, around the world. And then right after that, we'll bring you the new super cover pages this morning, the dailies, what they're talking about today, the headlines making the rounds. And thereafter, we'll then focus on two major conversations, hot topics in the country right now. If you've been following and you've been anticipating when the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal would sit, well, they started yesterday. We'll tell you all about that. Of course, we're Law 103.9, so definitely we'll bring you all that is going down or would go down as regards the Election Petitions Tribunal. So we'll bring you an update of the pre-hearing session yesterday. That'll be our first topic, and then we'll switch gears to the leadership of the 10th National Assembly and what the All Progressives Congress is planning about that. In the meantime, let's go straight to the news.
This is the news on the Law FM Morning Show.
Thanks for staying with us. This is a news update on Law FM 103.9. The Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal Abuja has begun the pre-hearing of the petitions challenging the outcome of the February 25 presidential election. According to the Independent National Electoral Commission, Bola Tinubu of the ruling All Progressives Congress won the election with over 8.7 million votes. Meanwhile, Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party came second with 6.9 million votes, and Peter Obi was third with 6.1 million votes. Not satisfied with the outcome, Atiku and Obi approached the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal to annul Tinubu's victory. Security around the court premises was almost impervious as men of the Nigerian police force cordoned off the road leading to the court as pre-hearing resumed at about 9:15 yesterday morning. An opening remark was made by the presiding Justice Haruna Samani, who leads a 5-man panel of justices. Other members of the panel include Justice Stephen Eda, Justice Misitura Bolaji Yusuf, Justice Bolu Koromo Moses Ugo, and Justice Abba Mohammed.
Meanwhile, the Action Alliance and its presidential candidates Solomon David Monday, that was yesterday, withdrew their petition challenging the declaration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the winner of the February 25 presidential election. At the commencement of the pre-hearing session of the Presidential Election Petition Court sitting in Abuja, counsel to the petitioners, Madro Buchi, a senior advocate of Nigeria, moved a motion for the withdrawal of the petition. Following a no objection by the respondent in the matter, Justice Adona Samani led a 5-member panel of the justices of the court granted the request for the withdrawal of the petition and consequently dismissed it. With the dismissal of the petition filed by the Action Alliance and its presidential candidate, the president-elect now has 4 petitions challenging his election to contend with. The petitions before the court now, that of Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party, Peter Obi of the Labour Party, Action People's Party and the Allied People's Movement, wherein they seek the nullification of Tinubu's election on the grounds of substantial non-compliance with the provisions of the Constitution, the Electoral Act and the INEC's guidelines for the conduct of the elections.
Still on the national scene, the Nigerian Presidential Election Petition Court in Abuja has postponed the appeal that the Labour Party and its candidate, Peter Obi, filed to overturn Bola Tinubu's election victory till tomorrow. The court postponed the lawsuits of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and its candidate, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, till today, while setting the same date for another petition by the Action People's Party, APP. The court ordered the proceedings to be put on hold and instructed the parties to list every witness statement and document they plan to rely on or contest at the petition's real hearing. Peter Obi, who ran for the position of president, was present in court to observe the proceedings. In the meantime, the court yesterday disallowed Plateau State Governor Simon Lalong from appearing before it as Asiwaju Bola Tinubu's agent.
Now, away from the Election Petitions Tribunal for a moment, the National Working Committee of the All Progressives Congress has zoned the leadership of the 10th National Assembly, according to a statement by the National Publicity Secretary of the party, Felix Morka, on Monday. The zoning arrangement reported to the National Working Committee is as follows. Senate President zoned to the South-South with Senator Gatu Lakbabi of Akwa Ibom, and Deputy Senate President given to Northwest, with Senator Barao of Jubrin of Kano State also mentioned. Others are the Speaker of the House of Representatives given to Northwest with Honorable Bas Tajuddin of Kaduna, and Deputy Speaker Southeast Honorable Ben Kalu of Abia State. The announcement of the zoning arrangement, according to Moka, followed a meeting by the National Working Committee yesterday to consider reports of consultations and meetings held with the President-elect Bola Tinubu and other stakeholders on the zoning arrangement for the 10th National Assembly.
And finally, on the national scene, Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka says Peter Obi's visit was not for reconciliation as reported in some quarters. Obi, the Labour Party presidential candidate for the 2023 elections, visited the literary icon on a Sunday following the former's supporters, known as Obedient, recent fallout with Soyinka after he faulted the former Anambra governor's running mate's comment about the exercise. Following the visit, many reports claimed it was a reconciliatory move by the LP flag bearer, but in a statement yesterday, Soyinka said the visit was not for such. According to Soyinka, during that meeting attended by 2 other individuals, only the word reconciliation was never bruited, neither in itself nor in any other form. It simply did not arise.
Now, away from Nigeria to stories around the continent of Africa. Security officials in Uganda claim to have found explosives meant for use at an upcoming anti-government demonstrations in the country's capital, Kampala. Uganda Freedom Activist and Advocacy Group called for statewide demonstrations against corruption and the nation's economic problems yesterday. The explosives were discovered in Nabweru on the road to Kazo in the capital Wakiso area, according to a tweet from the defense spokesperson, Brigadier Felix Kulayije. According to the army, 4 persons were detained for allegedly having improvised explosive devices.
Moving on to the foreign scene, Israeli strikes kill Islamic Jihad commanders in Gaza, with at least 12 Palestinians, including 3 commanders of the militant group Islamic Jihad, being killed in Israeli airstrikes on the Gaza Strip. Palestinian health officials said 3 women and 3 children were among the dead and another 20 people were injured. Israel said it had launched an operation targeting militants who posed an imminent threat to its citizens. Islamic Jihad has vowed revenge, and Gaza-based militants are expected to respond with rocket fire into Israel. Reports say one significant factor will be the extent to which Hamas, which controls the Strip, joins in. Israel officials are said to be preparing for days of fighting.
Now, in business, the African Refiners and Distribution Association has said to displace charcoal with clean cooking gas, also known as liquefied petroleum gas, that would cost Nigeria and other countries in Africa about $7.5 billion for downstream infrastructure and stoves. It also stated that the continent remained the lowest in per capita consumption despite its huge abundance of gas, stressing that it was high time stakeholders came up with financial strategies and solutions to address the bottlenecks to clean cooking gas usage on the continent. The executive director, secretary, of the association, Anibo Kraga, who disclosed this during a liquefied petroleum gas virtual workshop by the group, stated that while sub-Saharan Africa had 14.4% of the world's population, that less than 1% of global liquefied petroleum gas consumption. He, however, noted that LPG consumption in Africa had more than doubled since 2010, noting that the consumption recorded 9.7% annual growth rate over the past decade. He said Nigeria remained the largest LPG consumer, adding that LPG was the fastest growing petroleum product in sub-Saharan Africa.
We'll now move on to Counsel Felix Uzoma for news updates from our judicial circuit.
Yes, and these are stories from the judiciary. The Supreme Court yesterday reserved judgment in an appeal filed by Mr. Adegboyega Oyetola of the All Progressive Congress, APC, against the judgment of the appeal court, which upheld the election of Senator Ademola Adeleke as governor of Osun State. The five-man panel led by Justice John Inyang Okoro, after listening to the counsel to Oyetola, Lateef Fagbemi SAN, Adeleke, Onyechi Ikpeazu SAN, and Alex Izinyo SAN, who appeared for the PDP, said judgment will be delivered on Tuesday, which is today, by 2 p.m. And now to Katsina. The Katsina State Chief Judge, Justice Musa Danladi Abubakar, has blamed lawyers and litigants for the slow pace of justice administration in the country. The Chief Judge, who disclosed this yesterday in an interactive session with some journalists in Katsina, blamed the lawyers for prolonging cases and called through adjournments. The Chief Judge equally called on the federal and state governments to ensure the digitization of courtrooms in order to pave the way for speedy dispensation of justice in the country, and further advocated for courts to consider alternative sentencing such as community services. And now to Abuja. Justice Ikionye Evelyn Maha of the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has reportedly granted Media Rights Agency permission to sue the National Broadcasting Commission in two separate cases. The organization reportedly sued the commission for its failure to grant the organization's request for information on the scope of independence, reportedly granted it by President Muhammadu Buhari, and details of the 302 broadcasting stations the commission claimed it sanctioned in 4 months after the campaign for the 2023 election began in September 2022. The organization had claimed that in two separate letters earlier written to the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission requested for these details, in which it said the commission is yet to disclose. After listening to the argument of the organization's lawyer in the two cases, which were heard separately, Justice Maha granted MRA leave to apply for the relief sought and directed the organization's lawyer to file their motion on notice within 7 days before adjourning further hearing in both suits to June 21, 2023. And that brings us to the end of updates from the judiciary and the NBA.
For our stories and eyewitness reports, do visit our website at www.lawfmng.com and follow us on socials. On Facebook, we're at LawFM 103.9, Instagram at LawFM Radio, and Twitter at LawFM_radio. The LawFM Morning Show will return shortly with the newspaper review segment. Do stay with us.
You are listening to Law FM.
This is Law FM 103.9.
Allah, oh shit, have no fear, but I said, let's go there. And right now, you're listening to.
You want more?
I want it.
This station has got you covered. 103.9 Law FM. where we play your music your way all day, every day. On Law FM.
On Law FM
103.9. First-hand knowledge of the law and your rights, right here on Law FM 103.9.
There's only one station. That
Captivates you.
with the law. Law FM 103.9.
A dive into the papers on the Law FM Morning Show.
There you go, the newspaper headlines next here on the Law FM Morning Show. You're tuned into Law FM 103.9. Let's begin with Daily Independent newspaper this morning. All Progressives Congress endorses Akpabio for Senate President, the Bas for Speaker. That's the lead here. There are two riders to this Jibrin Kalu for Deputy Senate President, Deputy Speaker. Senators elect Kik insist on producing own leaders, and Buhari ask NUPLC to supervise all crude oil export terminals. All right, we've got all and this and a lot more coming up for you in a moment on the cover pages. Of course, we'll check out the Guardian newspaper, the Punch, and the Nation, as well as a few more as time would permit. But let's go on a very short break. We'll be back in a moment.
Hello guys, my name is Dele Momodu and you are listening to Law FM 103.9 for knowledge and entertainment. Your only law radio station.
It's another night to witness comedic madness from the rural king himself and rib-cracking entertainment from the best of comedy and the music industry. It's Akbararo versus Akbararo live in Echo Hotel, the Kingsman Edition. Featuring AY, The Stalker, Hush Bebe, Dan the Humorous, Edo Piki, Freeman, Advisor, MC Danfo, Lino B, Rural Squad, and lots more. It promises to be a night of maximum entertainment and 100% madness. Venue, Echo Hotels, Victoria Island, Lagos. Date, Sunday, May 21st, 2023. The show starts by 7 p.m. Tickets, regular 7,000 naira. VIP, 25,000 naira. Premium table, 2.5 million naira. Gold table, 1.5 million naira. Ticket outlets, all urban or supermarkets. Or visit ariatickets.com. For sponsorship and table reservations, please call 0803-881-4731. Akbararo versus Akbararo is powered by Rural House. Packaged by Landry Mako Events. Media partner.
Finest babe. How do you do it?
My skin gives me the extra confidence to light up the room. That's why I'm deliberate about how I nourish my skin. I use a soap made with the right natural ingredients.
A soap? Which one?
A soap that contains shea butter and aloe vera, turmeric and honey for a glowing skin.
Experience the new Joy Black Soap made with over 7 natural ingredients that moisturize, restore, and repair your skin, giving you the confidence to be who you love to be. Joy, beauty my way.
Right here.
I'm Oluwadamlola Emmanuel, the General Manager, Lagos State Waterways Authority, and you're listening to Law FM 103.9 for knowledge and entertainment.
20 minutes past 9 here on the Low FM Morning Show. Thanks indeed for staying tuned. Yes, it's time to get back to the cover pages for you this morning, and we're checking out the Daily Independent newspaper, the first this morning. So continue with the cover page. Presidential election court dismisses Action Alliance petition against Tinubu. How accurate is this? We'll get talking about that in a moment. Was it dismissed, or did they withdraw their petition? We'll get to talk about that when we get to the discussion segment in a bit. Away from that though, Nigerian Navy to reduce high insurance premium on ships. 134 kidnapped victims rescued in Kogi. And this one says another batch of 129 Nigerians fleeing Sudan arrive Abuja. The Basakio case 13th month salary for Edo workers. And to energy infrastructure, Transcorp Power gets discharge certificate from the federal government. Top of the page, Daily Independent this Tuesday, May 29, handover date sacrosanct, says Defense Minister. And one last one here, Atiku, PDP seek live broadcast of hearing at the presidential election petition courts. That's what the Daily Independent newspaper is reporting on the cover page this Tuesday.
The Guardian also has a number of stories right here on the cover page. The big bold headline says, discontent as aspirants and minority caucus reject Akpabio and Abbas. We also have this story that says technicalities, time wasting will not be entertained. PEPC warns Atiku, Obi Tinubu's lawyers. On the bottom of that cover page, National Assembly APC picks Akpabio and Abbas. Another story on the bottom of the page says high duty vehicle imports crash by 128%. And just beside that, we have this one by Shoyinka that says Obi's visit not about reconciliation. At the top of the Guardian, reconciliation not mentioned during Obi's visit. Shoyinka reiterating his stance. And this story on the top of the Guardian as well says tight security as Supreme Court rules on Adeleke and Oyetola's case today.
Yes, and we move swiftly to the Punch newspaper this morning. On the top left-hand corner of the Punch newspaper, you have at the front page, you have Tribunal to Tinubu Atiku Obi's legal battle commences, and we have different writers. PDP APM's petition pre-hearing holds today. Labour Party Obi's case on Wednesday. We have Tribunal wants lawyers, says those who deserve justice will get it. And we have at the front page, you also have Osinbajo presents discharge certificate to Transcorp Power. You have Adeleke Oyetola hopeful as Supreme Court delivers judgment today. I think we have that in virtually all the papers. Bandits kidnap 40 Kaduna worshippers, 9 emirs children. That's also on the front page of the Punch newspaper. We also have FG plans rescue of Nigerian domestic workers in Iraq. And I think that's all on the front page of the Punch newspaper. Pick up the Punch newspaper to get more details.
There you go. It's time now for further conversations. Across those dailies we've mentioned or reviewed for you this morning, you'd find recurring stories. One major one would be the pre-hearing yesterday at the election petitions tribunal. The second would be the zoning and micro zoning even further by the All Progressives Congress, talking about the Senate presidency and Speaker of the House of Representatives for the 10th National Assembly. Two major focus. You can be part of the conversation, of course, as we discuss that briefly. By the way, we'll have guests talking to us about these two hot topics on the show this morning. We'll get to the discussion segments in a moment, but you can join the conversation as we very quickly mention this 0703 227 7338 or 0909 555 1039. Those are the numbers to call. You can send a text message or send in messages via WhatsApp as well. We're streaming live on Facebook, facebook.com/law FM1039, or simply tweet at law_radio and of course you can send a DM on Instagram at Law Radio. Okay, would love to hear from you, definitely. All right, so let's get to it real quick. Before we even talk about that, there was the visit by the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, to Wole Soyinka. That was on Sunday, and it was, quite a thing, because on social media a lot of persons were saying, oh, they've reconciled, and the headlines really did carry reconciliation. But the Nobel laureate has spoken about this, and he said, well, during the meeting with Peter Obi, there was no such thing as reconciliation.
The word was not even mentioned.
It wasn't mentioned, and he said a lot about that, guys. This also has caused a stir on social media, and indeed across several spaces, because lots of persons are wondering why Soyinka is coming back to mention this. Maybe on his part to clear the air as to exactly what the conversation was.
Absolutely. Though the Nobel laureates did not disclose the content of the discussion, but obviously what we know.
Well, maybe he did give a hint as to what they talked about, didn't he?
Well, I have not come across where he specifically said that this was what we discussed, but only that we know for sure that the word reconciliation, like he had come out to state, was not part of the agenda. Well, we don't even know reconciliation about what. What are they reconciling? So I think that's where we need to start from. Was there ever anything that needs to be reconciled in the first place?
I guess that was because when he granted that television interview, did mention that certain group of people, specifically talking about the obedient, right, or the obedient family, that they were being fascist, right? I think that was where the problem started from, if you can call that a problem, really. And lots of persons didn't take that lightly. Okay, they responded, and so with Peter Obi's visit to him on Sunday, it was thought that he went there to clarify things and to say that this is not what you think, and what do you. But he did mention, going back to your thoughts about what exactly they said. He said, by contrast, there were expressions, and I'm quoting Wole Soyinka directly in his statement. He said, by contrast, there were expressions of burden, of leadership, responsibility, apology, pleading, formal dissociation from the untenable, all the way to the tragic ascendancy of ethnic cleavage, especially under such ironic, untenable circumstances. Discussions were frank and creative. The notion of reconciliation was clearly non-applicable. It was never raised. That end of quote. That was, that's an extract from Soyinka's statement. That's to say that they spoke about a whole lot of things, and he did mention apology, pleading, which is if you want to think deeply about it, you could say that he was trying to say, or he was specific. Well, he didn't specifically state that Peter Obi was pleaded, or rather, Peter Obi pleaded with him as to what the obedient family or how they took his comment and his interview. Right, but let's know what you think about that. 0703-227-7338 or 0909-555-1039. You can also send in WhatsApp messages as regards this, or simply drop a comment on our Facebook live broadcast, facebook.com/LawFM1039. All right, so that's one. The zoning thing with the National Assembly is another top story in the news this morning.
Yes, so just yesterday, the APC's PRO, who is Felix Moka, came out to say that the positions for the National Assembly officers, which is the leadership positions, have now been agreed, or have now been zoned to various parts of the country. Well, we know for sure that even before now, there had been several clamors, several people raising the northwest, the southeast, and virtually all the parts of the country except maybe the southwest and the that should be northeast rather, where the Kashim Shettima is from. Maybe they are just the only two regions out of the 6 that do not want to be or hold leadership positions in the National Assembly. So now they've come out to say that for the Senate presidency, they have a position. The House of Representatives, they have a position. Still yesterday, we also have different groups, in fact, coming to endorse and counter-endorse. We also had different candidates also saying that yes, the APC has spoken, but we are also going to, come out to canvass for votes. And that's the beauty of democracy, really. Some people say the party is supreme when the party makes when the party makes a decision, but apart from that, it's the individuals who are going to cast their ballots at the in-house election that will be conducted in the National Assembly after May 29. But let's see how it goes. Remember that usually from history or precedent, the presidency has not usually always decided who becomes the leadership in the House. But let's see if history would be upturned in this particular case.
Well, didn't that happen in the 9th Assembly?
No, the 9th Assembly, okay. In the 9th Assembly, even the different candidates had their own parties. The 8th Assembly, even the 7th Assembly, they had different candidates. But we found out that the party members, the candidates went against the party leadership. So it has not always been the case that the party always has the say of the party always prevails in National Assembly elections. Exactly.
Okay, that's debatable, isn't it?
Yes, of course, and
it is, but it's obvious. Look at Saraki's case. Look at the case even before Saraki, Adolfo Zwambara, and all the rest. If you go back to the history of the National Assembly, the party has not always had their say, had their way. They could have their say to say, yes, this is the person we are adopting, this is the person we want. But usually the members go against the party. But history can always might not always repeat itself.
Right, so speaking of history repeating itself, another insecurity issue, and speaking of how things go, things have really gone awry in Kaduna State as terrorists attack Kaduna Church and abduct 40 worshippers. Some terrorists abducted over 40 worshippers at Bege Baptist Church in Chikun local government area of Kaduna State. The worshippers were in Sunday service in the church when around 9:30 a.m. they heard gunshots very close to the church. The gunmen attacked the church and went away with about 40 worshippers. Along the way, 15 of the abducted persons returned, remaining 25 who are presently in captivity without any word from their abductors. Efforts are being made in contact with the abductors concerning the remaining people, and prayers, of course, are setting out to ensure that the abductors would be merciful enough to release the remaining 25 people back to their families. But it's the same question that bothers on my mind. When does this end? Really, insecurity every single day, and people's lives are just at stake. Like, it means nothing. Where do we go from here?
Well, lots of questions begging responses as regards security in Nigeria. Well, let's bring you some news as regards evacuees, Nigerian evacuees from Sudan. We hear that 129 more Nigerians have fled the war-torn Sudan as the federal government further strengthens its efforts to repatriate stranded Nigerians in the North African country. Yesterday it was reported that the returnees arrived at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja, the nation's capital, on board the Taco Airlines from Port Sudan. Upon their arrival, that was at about 9:15 yesterday morning, the returnees were processed by officials with the filing of the returnee registration forms handed to them by government officials, comprising 124 adult and 5 infant. They were received by officials of the National Emergency Management Agency NEMA, the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission NIDCOM, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the Nigeria Immigration Service. Others include operatives of the Nigeria Police Force, the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking Persons, NAPTIP, and the military. Those were the agencies there to receive the Nigerian evacuees in Abuja yesterday. All right, so let's take your calls and contributions now. What do you make of this top headlines in the news this morning, as reported by dailies across the country? Do you think, as suggested by Council Felix, that, well, party supremacy won't come to play when it comes to the leadership of the 10th Assembly.
Has not always come to play.
Are you saying it will or it will not?
No, I mean, we analyze from precedents, from history. So if you look at the trends, if you look at the history, it has not always, except in very...
I get your analysis. I'm saying you've taken a stand, therefore, that it will not come to play.
I'm not taking a stand. I'm just throwing it open to... I mean, it's open for everybody to view, to either... I mean, your views can be different, but I'm just telling you from perspective, from precedent, this is what we have seen. So, is it going to be or not?
All right. Do you think it will be? Do you think it will not be? Do you think, senators, especially considering the fact that we have new first comers at the National Assembly when they're inaugurated in June? Understand what's that thing they do? Sort of an orientation is going on at the moment, for them. So we have new lawmakers. They are the beautiful bride at the moment. They'll be, poached. They'll be approached to say, okay, votes in this direction, vote in that direction. Will those, horse trading favor the ruling All Progressives Congress, who have the majority right now in the party? But if you combine the numbers the opposition has, the opposition, by the way, has said, they are not in support of this zoning thing and this micro zoning. The APC has not just zoned, they further micro zoned by picking the individuals they want for each position, the four major positions at the National Assembly. Well, we'll take your calls and contributions some more after this very short break. And when we get back from the break, by the way, we'll head straight to our discussion segments where we'll be engaging a guest analyst for the morning. Two of them, one for the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, and of course this issue of National Assembly as well. We'll talk about some more here on the Law FM Morning Show. Do stay tuned.
We're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
On Law FM 103.9.
Here is an opportunity for you to find answers to all your medical related questions. Join Dr. Gibbs, a legit therapist consultant, psychiatrist, and health policy expert on The Legit Therapist with Dr. Gibbs of the Freudian Center every Wednesday from 10 to 10:45 a.m. on Law FM 103.9. For more information, visit www.freudiancenter.com. Center spelled as CENTRE, or call 0809 600 0075 or 0811 887 9443. You can also follow across social media at Freudian_Center. The Legit Therapist with Dr. Gibbs on Law FM 103.9.
All doctors to the ER. Finest babe. How do you do it?
My skin gives me the extra confidence to light up the room. That's why I'm deliberate about how I nourish my skin. I use a soap made with the right natural ingredients.
A soap? Which one?
A soap that contains shea butter and aloe vera, turmeric, and honey for a glowing skin.
Experience the new Joy Black Soap, made with over 7 natural ingredients that moisturize, restore, and repair your skin, giving you the confidence to be who you love to be. Joy, beauty my way.
For this Naija wey we dey so, say you no hold cash no mean say wahala dey o. You wan send money to Male for Villa, just use Momo. You wan buy recharge card or data, just use Momo. You wan pay for market wey you buy, just use Momo. You fit use Momo run plenty things without cash, as long as you get Momo account. No cash, no wahala, and e dey easy to open o. Just dial *671# to open Momo account. Set your PIN, transfer money from your bank account inside your Momo account. Make you fit dey pay for anything, send and receive money sharp because life dey simple with Momo.
Hold on tight.
I'm Olufemi Pedro.
I'm Omoyele Showore.
My name is Honorable Hakeem Dixon.
This is Honorable Adekunle Akobada.
I'm Dele Momodu, and you are listening to Law FM 103.9 for knowledge and entertainment. Your only law radio station.
Presenting the Law FM Morning Show, giving you the best of news.
Still on the national scene, the independent
Legal update, newspaper review, and talk.
The cost of living, talk of lights, talk of good road.
My personal opinion and perception is that we may have a battle between two arms of government.
So grab the late morning coffee on the Law FM Morning Show from 9 a.m. because the conversation will begin. Law FM 103.9, your station for knowledge and entertainment.
Minutes gone past 9 a.m. This beautiful morning is still a Totally Tuesday edition of the Law FM Morning Show right here on the dial, your favorite dial, your only law radio station where you hear the law, talk the law, and know your right like never before. 103.9 Law FM. Yes, we've now hit our discussion segment, and we'll be speaking with Paul Mbgeoma Esquire, who is the legal practitioner and head of Associate Tayo Oyetibo Legal Practitioners, and we'll be talking about.
Yes, we'll be talking about the Election Petition Tribunal. Started yesterday, and we gave you a bit of an update on that, earlier. It's now time to get deeper into that, right? So, what should you know about this? The election, that's a presidential Election Petitions Tribunal in Abuja, started the pre-hearing of the petitions challenging the outcome of the February 25 presidential election yesterday. According to the Independent National Electoral Commission, just to remind you, they declared Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the ruling All Progressives Congress the winner of the election with over 8.7 million votes. Meanwhile, Atiku Abubakar, was said to have polled 6.9 million votes, and Peter Obi of the Labour Party 6.1 million votes. But both candidates and their parties, and indeed 3 other parties, not satisfied with that, the outcome of the elections, went to court, approached the Election Petition Tribunal to annul Tinubu's victory. We hear, according to reports, that the Action Alliance withdrew their petition yesterday, but we'll confirm all of that. Of course, we have a guest standing by to talk to us. A very good morning to you, and thanks for joining the conversation this morning.
Yes, good morning, and thank you for having me.
Yeah,
good morning, welcome.
Yeah, appreciate it. Of course, Beatrice is on the show, as well as Council Felix.
Good morning, thank you for joining us.
All right, let's begin with what we can tag an update on what happened yesterday. Bring us up to speed with all that you know as regards this.
Right. So basically, what happened yesterday was the commencement of pre-hearing session. So like the law provides, election petitions are a kind of litigation that is very special in nature. Now, it's a type of litigation where before the trial starts, parties and the court have a period of time where they sit down to itemize and then outline how the course of the trial itself will be conducted. So basically, that was what was started yesterday. And the law that provides for that is paragraph 18 of the first schedule to the Electoral Act 2022. So usually what happens during pre-hearing session is the fact that the court and the parties would agree on how witnesses are going to be called. They will agree on how documents are going to be tendered. if there are documents that are certified through copies, for instance, some INEC documents and forms that all the parties are not contesting, right? Like there may be some result sheets that the parties are not arguing that there were issues with those forms or result sheets. So it is at that pre-hearing session that both the petitioners and the respondents will agree that, okay, we're not going to contest or challenge these sets of documents. So that way, during the course of trial, there would not now be need for maybe when any of the parties tries to tender those documents, the opposing party begins to argue that the document did not meet the requirements of the law as to admissibility, because all that would have been taken care of during the course of the pre-hearing session. Now, it is also at the pre-hearing session that the number of days that parties will be allotted to prove their case or defend their victory will be allotted. Now, for instance, at the presidential level, we know that the 1999 Constitution, which was recently amended by the National Assembly and was signed into law, the recent amendments were signed into law sometime in March this year. So in one of those amendments, constitutional amendments, the time frame within which the presidential petition for petitioners are supposed to prove their case has now been extended to 6 weeks. Now, after the petitioners have exhausted their 6 weeks within which to prove their case, each of the respondents are now entitled to not more than 10 days. Now, it is during this course of the pre-hearing, for instance, that parties can agree. Petitioner can say, well, we don't even think we'll need this entirety of the 6 weeks to prove our case. My lord, we can take 4 weeks, right? Respondents can agree that, looking at the nature of the case, we don't think we need 10 days each to be able to defend ourselves. So we don't mind taking 5 days each. You get? So these are the things that will take place during the course of the pre-hearing. Now, after all these have been done, the court will then put it into writing and then produce what is called a pre-hearing report.
Okay.
So it is that report that the court will then use to guide the conduct of the trial itself, so that when trial starts, nobody will then begin to go outside of what has been agreed between the parties and the court during the course of the pre-hearing. So that's basically what has happened yesterday. And then, mind you, by law, pre-hearing session is expected to last not more than 14 days.
Okay.
So, yes. So it is within this period of 14. But of course, the court can and parties can agree that, well, based on the nature of the case, they don't need to be coming every day during the course of the 14 days. So they can start pre-hearing today and then agree to adjourn to maybe on the 5th day or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So, yes. And then once the pre-hearing report is produced, the next set of proceedings that will then commence will be the trial of the case itself.
All right, let's help Nigerians, follow this matter step by step. So something happened yesterday. There was a pool of black and white, yesterday at the Court of Appeal, yes, in Abuja. And then it was adjourned. A particular adjournment was made for today, and another one for tomorrow. I understand the PDP for today, and then the Labour Party for tomorrow. You want to break things down further for us for better understanding?
Yes, exactly. That's the point I was trying to make, that by law, the pre-hearing session is expected to last for 14 days.
Yeah.
So it is because of the fact that the pre-hearing session having commenced, the court and the parties now have 14 days within which to conduct the pre-hearing session proceedings. That is why the court adjourned after yesterday's proceedings. They adjourned some to today, I think, and then to subsequent days. So that is well within the law on how pre-hearing session is supposed to be conducted.
All right. Thank you very much for that insight. Just recently, the Katsina State Chief Judge was cautioning lawyers against technicalities, bringing in adjournments and all that. And we also realized that the head of that panel yesterday also spoke to litigants that both the respondents and the petitioners, that they should be mindful of technical. In fact, that the court will not entertain issues bordering on technicalities. Can you give us a bit of insight as to this? What sort of technicalities can actually even play up in such proceeding?
Right, thank you. So usually, because of the fact that election petitions are time bound, right? By law, election petitions are not supposed to last more than 118 days.
Absolutely.
Mandatorily. From the point of filing of the petition. Once the petition is filed, time starts running. So usually you find that for the petitioner, based on the fact that the petitioner knows that he doesn't have the luxury of time, right? So he always wants to do everything expeditiously to ensure that he is able to establish his case before the expiration of that 180 days. Because the truth of the matter is, based on the enormity and volume of evidence that is required to establish election petition, the truth of the matter is, even that 180 days may appear not even to be enough. For instance, in a presidential election setting where you have to prove irregularities or whatever it is, based on the entirety of the states, the 36 states, right, and Abuja. So you find that that's a lot of evidence, volumes and volumes of evidence to work with. So usually some respondents, that is, respondents by law in election petition, are persons who won the election or against whom the election petition were brought. So usually, knowing full well that the petitioner has a very limited time to establish his case, which is 180 days, because once that petition gets to the 180th day, it elapses. So any of the respondents can bring an application for the petition to be struck out. So you find that these respondents can then begin to file all manner of applications. They can file applications to say that the petitioners, the witnesses that the petitioners called, that they did not put their full details and all that. So in that regard, that the court should strike out all their witness statements on oath and all that. And all such other applications that the respondents will be bringing. So thereby delaying the course of the proceedings, so that the time within which the petitioner would have to prove his case is now limited by all these applications that the respondents will be filing, and urging the court to determine the application first before they go into trial. Sometimes you find they even bring applications to begin to challenge jurisdiction that based on maybe certain paragraphs of the petition that the petitioners have brought facts which the election tribunal does not have the jurisdiction to entertain. So now all these applications, as they are filing all these things, it is eating into the time, the 180 days within which to determine the application. So you find that before if these applications continue to be entertained, the time within which the trial itself is established will be shortened. You understand? So these are some of the applications that the lordships of the Court of Appeal, the panel of the presidential election, were trying to encourage parties to not engage in, so that we know that after this pre-hearing session, once the matter is adjourned and set down for trial, it is full-blown trial session that goes into effect.
All right. Very quickly, there's a news making the round, and it's also a big one as regards the presidential election petition. Tribunal sitting in Abuja. Some, organizations, media organizations, are reporting that the case of the Action Alliance was dismissed. Right, the petition was dismissed, while some others, maybe very few, reporting that the party withdrew their petition. What exactly is the fact of this matter?
Yes, the correct fact is that the petitioners withdrew the petition. So the petition did not now go to the full hearing. So that's basically what happened. The petitioner, and they are well within their rights. A person who takes another person to court is well within his right to say, well, I've had a second view of my case, and I don't think I still want to pursue that case for whatever reason, right? So, and what the person needs to do is to just meet the requirements of the law on how to withdraw the petition, which is by the parties filing the necessary affidavit to say that, well, we no longer intend to continue to pursue our petition. So they are well within their rights to do that, and that was what they did.
All right, you can be part of the conversation. You have questions for guest, Paul Mbgeoma, legal practitioner, who's giving us some updates as regards the election petition tribunal sitting in Abuja and all that you should know about that. You can join the conversation 0703 227 7338 or 0909 555 1039. We'll take your calls and contributions just after this very short break. We'll be back.
Where we take your business from where it is to where it should be. You are listening to Law FM 103.9. Don't touch that dial.
For this Naija wey we dey so, say you no hold cash no mean say wahala dey o. You wan send money to Male for Villa, just use Momo. You wan buy recharge card or data, just use Momo. You wan pay for market wey you buy, just use Momo. You fit use Momo run plenty things without cash. As long as you get Momo account, no cash, no wahala. And e dey easy to open o. Just dial *671# to open Momo account. Set your PIN, transfer money from your bank account inside your Momo account. Make you fit dey pay for anything, send and receive money sharp because life dey simple with Momo.
Finest babe. How do you do it?
My skin gives me the extra confidence to light up the room. That's why I'm deliberate about how I nourish my skin. I use a soap made with the right natural ingredients.
A soap? Which one?
A soap that contains shea butter and aloe vera, turmeric and honey for a glowing skin.
Experience the new Joy Black Soap made with over 7 natural ingredients that moisturize, restore, and repair your skin, giving you the confidence to be who you love to be. Joy, beauty my way.
When you listen to this station, you learn about your rights. You discover the law in ways you never imagined. You know why? Because we broadcast in your interest.
It's a problem that we are all experiencing in the country. You know, different parts of the country, the same thing is happening. So who do we call on to? Who do we hold responsible?
We impact knowledge.
If the grid is unable to shed the load that it ought to, it could also result in the collapse of the national grid.
Call it what you may, but we are here to stay. The law was never biased, so why should it be now? To every individual, we are Law FM 103.9.
There are no internal electricity board.
A beautiful morning, a Totori morning, a Totori Tuesday morning. We call it right here on the dial, your favorite dial, your only Law radio station 103.9 Law FM. Yes, it is 56 minutes gone past 9 a.m. and we're still here with Paul Mbgeoma Esquire right here talking about the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, which sat yesterday, just giving us update on that. Thank you so much, Paul, for staying with us.
You're welcome.
All right, moving on. The presidential candidate for the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, asked the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal for an order permitting the live broadcast of the court's ongoing proceedings. What do you make of this? Or are there any provisions for this, the live broadcast of petitions, when it comes to elections in the law?
There's no specific law that says that election petitions shall be broadcast live. There's no provision in the law establishing that. But then again, some people can argue that because of the fact that the law establishes that courts are places of public. A court is a public institution where people are supposed to have access to the courts, except in specific situations where the law provides that the court can restrict access to the court based on certain reasons, right? So, in such a situation, if the court and based on the necessary applications of parties, and the court is minded or is of the opinion that such proceedings can be broadcast live, there's nothing wrong with that. But specifically, there's no law that says that election petitions shall be broadcast live.
So if the court was to entertain this, or at least entertain the call or the petition now, is that is that the right word to use for that? The call now by the PDP and its presidential candidate to listen to this, to permit the live broadcast of the ongoing proceedings. How exactly would that go? Would that be included in the pre-hearing session, or how exactly would that happen?
So usually what will then happen will be that there will be the necessary facilities that will need to then be provided, the necessary gadgets, right? Electronic gadgets that will be provided so that the proceedings can then be broadcast live, so anybody can watch or tune in from wherever they are. So that's basically how it works. So once if the court agrees with that their application and grants the application, the court is now bound to provide the necessary electronic gadgets that would be used to broadcast the proceedings live.
All right. Thank you very much. I just have another question, which is relating to, we've all focused much of our attention on the presidential election petition tribunal, presidential election petition court in Abuja. We know that the different states, in fact, the National Assembly election tribunals, there are also houses of assembly election petition tribunals. Are these technicals, are these futures, are they also what we see for the houses of assembly, state house of assembly, governorship election petition tribunal? Are they also a replica of what should be expected in the other election petitions?
Yes, so in terms of the procedure, it is a replica of what you find in all the election petition tribunals. That is, what I mean by that is that, for instance, as the pre-hearing session, as this presidential petitions started with the pre-hearing session, it is the same with all the other tribunals, the governorship election petition tribunal, the National Assembly and State Houses of Assembly election petition tribunal. It is the same, but the thing is, the timing will be different. So it should be based on when, the parties filed their different petitions. So, for instance, like some other states have already, National Assembly petitions have already commenced pre-hearing sessions. Some even have concluded pre-hearing sessions and then adjourned for trial proper. So that's usually what we find applicable, because of the fact that there's a uniform procedure or election petition tribunal proceedings. And that is what is contained in, if you remember, when I was speaking earlier, I mentioned the first schedule to the Electoral Act. So that's basically what guides the election petition proceedings.
Okay, it's exactly 2 minutes past 10 o'clock. We've been talking about the pre-hearing session which happened yesterday, and indeed give you a breakdown of what's going to happen with the presidential election petition tribunal. And we extended that conversation just a few minutes ago with the question Councillor Felix popped as we got the state election petition tribunal as well. Talking about the state election petition tribunal, we know that the Supreme Court has fixed May 9, which is today, for judgment in the appeal filed by former Osun State Governor Mbgeoma against the election of Ademola Adeleke. In his appeal, Oyetola is seeking the reversal of the March 25 judgment of the Court of Appeal in Abuja, which affirmed that Adeleke's victory in the last governorship election in Osun State. We know that this has gone through from the petition stage. That's the petition court now to the appeal, and now the Supreme Court is set. Yes, the tribunal, and the Supreme Court is set to rule today. What can you say about that as we close the session?
So, basically, really, the way election petitions go in this country, particularly for governorship elections and presidential elections, we all know that at the end of the day, it's usually when the matter eventually ends up at the Supreme Court that we know with finality who is actually the winner of the election. So that is basically what will be settled today. So, depending on how it goes, it is whoever the Supreme Court declares today to have been the winner of the election that will be the final determination of who won the election.
All right.
So that's why if you look at it, all governorship election petitions always ends up at the Supreme Court.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll keep tracking that for you and see how that goes. But hey, thank you so much for being a part of the conversation.
Yes, thank you so much,
Thank you for
Paul
having us.
Mbgeoma, for being here with us on the program today.
A very senior lawyer for that.
All right. I appreciate it. Have a fantastic time. Okay, so let's talk next. Principal positions in the 10th National Assembly, and to join us talk about that is a political analyst. You get to meet him in a moment. Still stay tuned.
Strap yourself in because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go
on Law FM 103.9.
Presenting the Law FM Morning Show, giving you the best of news,
Still on the national scene, the independent
legal update, newspaper review, and talk.
The cost of living, talk of lights, talk of good road.
My personal opinion and perception is that we may have a battle between two arms of government.
So grab the late morning coffee on the Law FM Morning Show from 9 a.m. because the conversation will begin. Law FM 103.9, your station for knowledge and entertainment.
Let's converse. Let's have fun.
It doesn't get better than this. Does it?
103.9 Law FM.
I will implore you, in addition to your course of study, whether you want to migrate, whether ASU is on strike, acquire one or two skills. Short skills that will always be relevant. Please, you never can know where you will need such skill. I am Engineer Olaomi Gaspar, and you're listening to Law FM 103.9.
7 minutes, I beg your pardon, past 10. This beautiful Tuesday, Totori Tuesday edition of the Law FM Morning Show. Thanks for staying tuned. We're taking your messages via WhatsApp 0703 227 7338 or 0909 555 1039. Those are the numbers to text, with, or simply call those numbers to be part of the conversation. We're done with the conversation about the election petitions tribunal, but of course that continues. The PDP would be making their case today, presenting their case today, the Labour Party tomorrow, and it goes on and on. So we'll keep bringing you those information you need to know. You can stick with us, FM 103.9 all day, every day, to find out what's happening. But let's switch gears now to our next conversation. One of the biggest stories in the country at the moment is the fact that the ruling party, that's the All Progressives Congress, yesterday announced its choice for principal positions of the 10th National Assembly. Aside from the geopolitical areas to which the party zoned top positions, they also attached their preferred persons, if you like, preferred officers to occupy those positions as well. The party's National Working Committee did that yesterday. In a statement, they ratified the arrangement at its meeting in Abuja, according to its spokesperson Felix Moka. And specifically, they said Senator Godswill Akpabio, the former Akwa Ibom State's governor, is tipped as Senate President, and Senator Barau Jibrin of Kano North as Deputy Senate President. Also nominated Tajuddin Abbas of Zaria Federal Constituency in Kaduna State as Speaker of the House of Representatives, and Benjamin Kalu of Bende Federal Constituency of Abia State as Deputy Speaker. This election for principal officers is the first assignment the two chambers, that's the green and red chamber, will carry out after the inauguration next month. But that's the position of the All Progressives Congress, I beg your pardon, right now, and the opposition PDP as well as the Labour Party and some other parties reportedly have said they're not part of this. They won't, be aligning with this arrangement by the ruling All Progressives Congress. Joining us to talk about this morning is a political commentator, Jide Ojo. He joins us via the phone. Good morning to you, Jide, and thanks for joining in.
Good morning, Kinky. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Africa.
Good morning. You're welcome.
Yeah, of course we have Beatrice Inim as well as Council Felix Uzoma also on the program this morning, doing this together. All right, let's get started. The news broke yesterday. Of course, it's been rumored the past few days that this was going to be the case. As a matter of fact, a clip showing the governor of Kano State, Abdullahi Ganduje, saying that Senator Godswill Akpabio is going to be the next Senate president, went viral a few days before this. I think it was a day or two before this notice or this statement from the All Progressives Congress. But when you saw this news broke yesterday, what was your thoughts? How did you process this?
Okay, so it's not the first time we are having this kind of scenario, so nothing out of ordinary. However, at a personal level, I thought the number 3 position should have been zoned to the southeast for purposes of equity, justice, and fairness. Nigeria stands on a tripod. The Hausa, Fulani, Yoruba, and Igbos. So if you do not consider that the Bush could be number 3, on what basis are we zoning the president of the Senate to the south? Only one state, which is Cross River, is governed by APC in the south. Aside from that, I feel between or among Oji Uzo Kalu, Osita Zunaso, and Debumari, who are 3 senators of APC from the southeast. One of them could have been made the president of the Senate for purposes of equity, justice, and fairness.
Debumari beg your pardon, Jide. Debumari is the campaign director for Senator Godswill Akpabio to be Senate president.
This was after the so-called consensus.
Yeah.
He himself was nothing the ambition. Recall that Osita Zunaso, OUK, in fact, Oji Uzo went to the president after collection of his certificate of return to intimate him that he's also interested in the president of the Senate. However, I'm just expressing a personal opinion that position of president of the Senate should have been zoned to the southeast so that we do not have this scenario of marginalization early in the administration of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Because as I was saying before your interruption, 2 out of 5 states in the southeast are APC states. That's Imo and Ebonyi. 2 out of 5. But if you look at the 6 states in the south, only Cross River is governed by APC. And when you look at the number of votes, I believe the same thing that afflicted southeast afflicted south. Only River State was won outrightly by APC in the south. Rivers, not even Akwa Ibom was won by APC. So on what basis are we now zoning and micro-zoning? It wasn't even zoned to south anyway. It was not only zoned to south, it was micro-zoned to God's way,
yeah.
Because if you are talking of south, Oshomale, Adams of Oshomale, former national chairman, former national chairman of APC, former governor of Edo State. He's also a senator, and I believe there are also one or two others apart from Akpabio and Oshiomhole. So many have said, okay, maybe because Akpabio stepped down for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu during the party primary. But would that be sufficient, or is it because they were both former governors or former senators? What was the preference for Godswill Akpabio? But the APC, in its own wisdom, as well as the president-elect, in his own wisdom, decided to microzone, because, like I said, it's not even zoning to a particular geopolitical zone. They are microzones. But the one that really got me pissed off somehow is the position of Deputy President of the Senate to Kano, and Barau Jibril, who is from Kano, and then you now give the speakership again to Kaduna.
Northwest still.
That means two key positions going to the Northwest.
Doesn't that tell us? Doesn't that tell us something about this zoning? Maybe the party isn't necessarily looking at regional, for want of better word, zoning, but particularly hand-picking persons they think are competent and would align with the party.
Yeah, it will seem so. It will seem like they didn't use the word is not even zoning now. It's hand-picking. It's not zoning, because if you are saying you have zoned, if you zone, remember last year when they said the Northern Progressive Governors Forum went and prevailed on President Buhari not to unpick, because recall that Senator Adamu Abdullahi, the national chairman of APC, announced that the president has chosen President of the Senate, Dr. Ahmed Lawal, as the candidate of the presidential candidate of APC. Before the progressive governors went to meet the president and said, no, don't do that. Power should shift to the south. Yeah. But even at that, when they said power should shift, they didn't say we are giving it to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We have Tinubu contesting. We have the Vice President, Shibajo, contesting. We have several others. Of course, several stepped down for the president, among whom is Godswill Akpabio, Kayode Fayemi, former governor of Ekiti. We also have Ibikule Amoso stepping down, amongst about 7 or 8 who stepped down for Asiwaju. But there was still contestation from both even the north, those who collected from the north, and the south. And Asiwaju eventually became victorious. If it were to be zoned to south-south, I'm sure that the caucus of APC can then decide among themselves to say, okay, from the south-south, we have about 3 or 4 senators. Who should we back? So when you now also see that the position of Deputy President of the Senate was given to Jibril Barau from Kano, and then you now still have someone from Kaduna being preferred as the speaker. Then you now went to Abia to pick Benjamin Kanu, who is the chairman of House Committee on Media and Media Relations or something, as the deputy speaker. What about the North Central? Why did APC and Asiwaju not have somebody for purposes of equity, justice, and fairness that we're talking about? Why was there no position given to North Central? Yes, in the outgoing night National Assembly, the position of the speaker was held by Southwest, that's Femi Gbadabe, and then the North Central had Wase, who is from Plateau State, as the deputy speaker. But I thought that somebody from North Central could have been supported to produce the speaker rather than giving both the deputy president of Senate to Kano and then the speaker to Kaduna.
Yeah.
Both states are from Northwest. Because when you look at the outcome of the election, in the North Central, APC won in Benue, won in Niger, won in Kogi, won in Kwara, won in they lost in Nasarawa and Plateau. So if out of 6 states in North Central, APC won 4 outrightly, I'm telling you outrightly, not that APC won minimum of 25%, with the exception of FPT, where the APC did not get 25%.
Yeah.
But apparently, in the February 25th election, APC won in 4 states, Kwara, Kogi, Niger, and Benue, and lost outrightly in Nasarawa and Plateau. So why should there not be consideration to at least have somebody from the North Central produce the speakership? Why are you marginalizing the entire North Central region? So these are some of the, but I'm not a politician. Basically, I must admit, I'm just a political scientist. I'm not a politician, and I may not know what could have informed the choice of this gentleman. And only men were given this position.
Yeah.
There was a lady from Southeast who also showed interest to be speaker. Why was there no consideration to even have the first female deputy speaker? If you are running the South deputy speakership to Southeast, why not say, okay, for purposes of equity, justice, and fairness, to also have inclusive leadership in the National Assembly? Let's have a deputy speaker coming from the Southeast. So, but it's the prerogative of the party. I'm only very concerned about the possibility of a rebellion, which is already happening now. You see the Betara, Wase, and Dogua addressing press yesterday, dissociating themselves from what the party has said, and even saying that they want an independent parliament, that nobody from outside of the parliament should be dictating. So this is how it started in 2015.
Yeah.
Recall what happened in 2015 when Bukola Saraki and Dugara emerged against the will of the party and even the presidential the president-elect at that time.
Yeah, which brings us to the next to the next question real quick, because we need to begin to wrap the conversation now. What do you think might happen in coming days, especially as regards the inauguration, where this election within the National Assembly would happen? Opposition party senators or senators elect now, especially because we have a lot of new faces at the National Assembly. What do you think might happen? What do you see happening? You just mentioned the case of 2015. Do you think opposition parties, including disgruntled members of the All Progressives Congress who are uncomfortable with the zoning process or the handpicking process like you've mentioned, do you think party supremacy would take charge at the end of the day?
Well, the party supremacy thing may not work, given the fact that the political parties are just mere platforms to get to power. Now, these gentlemen and ladies are on their own. The party the party did not, could not suspend even Saraki and Dogara when they emerge against the wishes of the party. They just need to be the party needs to be wary of banana peel. We have had this thing before, where the party would dictate to its members in the National Assembly, and they will resist. We know that presidents will always want their preferred candidates. That happened under Obasanjo, under Yar'Adua, under Goodluck Jonathan, and under Buhari. But you need to tread very carefully. The dissociation or the denouncement by some of the aspirants under APC is that They were not even consulted before the party decided to come out with the so-called zoning, the so-called unpicking. Unpicking, I think it is unpicking, it's not zoning. Because when you zone, you don't mention a particular person's name. But what has happened now is that we have individuals whom the party and the president-elect said they prefer to. So what may happen is that while it may be easier to get Akpabio in at the Senate, I'm very worried that in the House of Reps, it might be, the situation might be dicey. And my own concern is if you have a frosty relationship early in the days between the executive and legislative arm, it will hamper the advancement and progress that may be initiated by the president, the new president. Because if against all laws and against his wishes, if you now have somebody from the opposition becoming the Speaker of House of Reps, or even the President of the Senate, or Deputy President of the Senate, or Deputy Speaker, you will be starting the administration of Tinubu on a very wrong footing, because no matter how laudable your plans are, no matter your flowery campaign promises, you cannot run the country as a sole administrator. And situation we have seen in the past, remember, Kingsley, what happened in 2015, where Saraki decided to go and cut deal with the opposition. And the Deputy President of the Senate came from the opposition. Then Senator Ikwe became Deputy President of the Senate as against the position of the leadership of the APC. So that history is there and could repeat itself if care is not taken. So what I will expect the president-elect as well as the party leadership to do is to invite all the aspirants, plead with those who have lost out, ostensibly those who have lost out, plead with them to see the reason for the party position and cut their interest and see how you can settle them.
All right.
The settlement could come in forms of a chairmanship position in the committees. There is also the position of majority leader. There is also the position of chief whip and other principal officers. So some of these people can be settled in terms of, okay, sorry, you only one person can be supported to become president of the Senate, but you will make you a majority leader. You will be the chief whip. You will be the chairman of appropriation. Some of these juicy committees.
Right.
So, but I will expect not the leadership of the party and even the president-elect not to discountenance the grievances and grouses of the other aspirants who are not favored in this selection process. So they should appeal to them so that they will not end up jeopardizing and undermining the party position when the election will come up next month.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jide Ojo. Wish we had some more time to talk about this, because there are those who have raised the question of credibility, as regards the former governor of Akwa Ibom State. I recall watching the Kano State governor call him the uncommon governor. That was one tag he gave himself back then. But also there are those who have raised another issue as regards the fact that the southeastern part of the country since 1999 till date have been there've been someone from that region who have been the Senate president 5 times. They've been at that position for 5 times. Maybe the All Progressives Congress consider that as well, but there won't be time for any further conversation as regards this. I want to especially thank political commentator Jide Ojo for joining the conversation today and for sharing your submission on this subject matter.
My pleasure. You have a wonderful week.
And you too. Thank you so much. Yeah, appreciate it. All right. That's the package as regards that right now. It's been totally right, hasn't it?
Of course, it has been. I mean, one call came through. Maybe someone wanted to weigh in on that, but do well to give us a call back as we edge towards the end of the program this morning.
Yeah, keep them calls coming. 0909 555 1039. We have one here. Hello there. Good morning.
This is Engineer Nee from Yaba.
Thanks for calling.
Yes. Well, concerning the principal officers in the National Assembly.
Yeah.
I want to say categorically clear that it's not the duty of anybody, president-elect or any party, to choose principal officers for the National Assembly, because there is separation of power and they should be independent. And no among them says who should better lead them. That should, and they said southeast. Why should some people be clamoring for somebody that has the EFCC issue? Where we have some other people that are very credible that can run the house very well. I choose the most experienced person is Eyi Naya Abaribe from Abia State. He's a ranking officer, the most ranking officer there.
But it's not.
He was a deputy governor. He has been in the Senate for a long time.
Yeah.
And he's the present minority leader.
Engineer
before he now resigned to go and contest, and he has won under Abga.
Yeah.
So then the opposition put their hands together and choose leaders for themselves among those that are not pleased with the decision of the party yesterday.
Thank you.
Let the opposition.
All right. Appreciate your thought on the program, Engineer Nee. That's the only call we can take at this time because we've got to go. And by the way, the senator mentioned is not of the ruling parties, of the opposition. So one wonders if we can have that, happen. But we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I mean, that's not impossible, really. But that's the show today. We're back tomorrow, Wednesday, the 10th day of May 2023, for further hot topics on the program. In the meantime, keep them conversation going on social media, across social media platforms.
On Instagram at Law FM Radio and on Twitter at @LawFM_radio. Of course, you can still leave your contributions via SMS or WhatsApp on 0703 2277 338. We have to go, but you don't go anywhere. Keep your radio closed and keep your dial tuned in and locked on to your station for knowledge and entertainment. My name is Beatrice Inem.
And I'm Felix Uzoma.
Kingsley Bass is my name. Lots of music coming your way with DJ U coming through right away. Stay tuned.